Duke Nukem 3D is the 1996 3D Realms video game that is explosive, packed with action, and is just a little bit saucy. Our main man Duke is returning home from exterminating an evil alien race. His thoughts turn to booze, cigars, and soft underbellies. Ooh, when all of a sudden his ship is blown from the sky by some more alien bastards. He crash lands to find LA has been invaded by yet more ETs, and even worse, they're stealing our chicks. That sort of thing's not on. He cocks his pistol and dusts off his size 13s, preparing to kick titanic quantities of ass. This exquisite slice of 90s bang bang truly shines due to the brilliance of the creative ideas, the build engine sexiness, and the game's leading man. Our titular character is the distillation of every 80s action hero, the personification of unstoppable machismo, a human wrecking ball made of pecs, steroids, and an arsenal of deadly weapons. He reacts to environmental elements, he voices shock at explosions, and he tells boss monsters where to stick it, just as we the player would say to the screen. I love it. And I love this game. I'm playing on eDuke 32 because the internet told me to and I'm too scared to object. I was gonna go with Raze, but a neckbeard squinted at me menacingly, so eDuke it is. It plays beautifully, and I highly recommend it. Say the line, Duke.
Those chicks are gonna pay for shitting down my neck.
Close enough. Let's dive in. Assault Troopers. The basic bitch of the invading force, these guys are clad in green armor, and they'll pew-pew at you with their tiny wee laser guns. You may laugh off such a pathetic attack, but if a whole room of dudes corner you, you're in for a spot of bother. Equipped with a jetpack, these oatmeal-colored cretins will zoom around and can easily appear from high above or far below you with the telltale purring of their jets, getting closer and closer. They're quite a versatile bad guy. They can properly swim underwater, they can open doors, they're quite a nuisance. Being very weak, you can easily dispatch them with around 4 well-aimed pistol shots or 3 big chunky kicks from Duke's powerful gams. A single shotgun blast will wipe them out, and they're prime candidates for the shrinker/expander. One shrink shot will let you step on them, and only 2 blasts from the expander will make them pop, damaging those around them. This makes them excellent inflation targets if they're in a big group, and you have expander juice to spare. When killed, troopers will drop a pistol clip 37.5% of the time, which is kind of odd considering they don't use a pistol or bullets. But it is a good way to keep Duke topped up with ammo, so that's as good an explanation as we need. Speaking of percentages, when killed there's a 12.5% chance of them falling to their knees, choking on their blood. If left to die, they'll give a painful groan and expire. Or they're faking and will spring back to life with full health to toast you. There's a 25% chance of this happening, so if in doubt, give them a swift boot to the face when they're gagging to make sure they go down. Or just blow them up. Their projectiles are fast, but if you have enough room, you can sidestep them while strafing around the trooper. It's simple enough, and can help immensely in preserving Duke's health. Assault Captains. Essentially a carbon copy of the trooper, these guys have twice the health, sport red armor, and can teleport around using their wrist-mounted terminals. When the teleport is used, captains turn invisible and roam about, giving the impression they've beamed off somewhere, only to reappear when Duke has crossed the area they teleported away from to get you with a nothing personal kid sneak attack. If you stay still, you can be waiting for quite a long time for them to reappear, and if you move backwards instead of forwards, they'll likely just pop up in front of you. You can use this to bait them into presenting a good target for your weapons. Want a really good time? Hit them hard when it looks like they're going to teleport, and when they reappear they die instantly. Good stuff. Like troopers, they shoot faster when they crouch, so be mindful of this when they pop a squat and hide behind a corner to snipe them. I suggest using the shotgun. A single solid shot will take them down, or go at them with the shrinker or some explosives. Their little teleporting parlor trick can be bothersome when you find yourself in the middle of a seething alien gangbang, so don't let them pull the wool over your eyes. Pig cops. Do we smell bacon? I think we do. The LAPD is no more. There is only the LARD, a joke I didn't get or appreciate when I was a kid, but now I bask in how hilariously blunt it is, mentally swishing it around like a rare vintage. It's a cheeky little gag, a tad impertinent, only slightly on the nose. Pig cops are the muscle in the invading force front lines. They're packing shotguns and are a wily bunch. You'll often encounter them lying flat to the ground and or hiding in dark corners where you'll see their red eyes glowing at full brightness. An unaware player will hear the roar of the gun, have their screen turn bright red, and a big piece of Duke and his health will be gone. In regards to these situations, I would suggest you play as if a piggy is around any corner and duck your head out and back in, waking up the murderous hogs and leading them towards your unrelenting attacks. Because pig cops always fire 2 shotgun blasts, one after the other, if the player is at 50 health or lower, you won't be looking good. This likelihood of instant death is isolated entirely to these monsters. No other enemy can wipe you out so quickly with such damage via a hit scan attack. They fire 5 hit scan pellets when standing and 4 when they're prone, and their attack uses the same damage calculations as your own shotty. Your own shotgun is highly recommended on these bebop lookalikes. 2 chest shots will bring these boys in blue down, and for the good of your health, use a peekaboo shooting strategy to avoid their attacks. The foot and pistol are not recommended because the former brings you too close to these bastards, and the latter will have you focusing on the pig for too long, allowing other enemies to melt you. A well-aimed RPG shot will blow them up, same with a good pipe bomb, and the shrinker is always good for crushing them underfoot. You can circle strafe them to varying degrees of success, ripping into them with the chain gun, but depending on how well you move and duck, you'll likely still take some pellets. When killed, there's a chance they'll drop either a shotgun with a few shells in it or some used armor, gifting Duke either 50 or 75 protection. I like how they're not perfect drops. The fact that they've been used by the cop already gives a nice sense of immersion. I love how iconic these guys are to the game, and I do miss them terribly when playing the second episode. So it's always nice to greet them again in episode 3. That might be why I like Lunar Apocalypse the least, but maybe it's a different reason. Turrets. Oh, these things are super annoying and are usually cleverly positioned whereby you won't see them until they're zapping the crap out of you with their constant laser fire. As soon as you hit them, they start to spin, shedding metal parts, and they'll stop attacking. This is always reliable as they have a flinch chance of 100%. I like to use the fast attack of the pistol on them. About 5 shots works well, or 1 solid shotgun hit if you're not too far away. RPG is good too, obviously, but you might want to save that for other more dangerous enemies, so that's why I go pistol. I don't use that gun for much else once I get the shotty, and I always have plenty of ammo for it. Just keep firing, keep it spinning, until it explodes, job done. Recon patrol vehicles. These things are really cool, and once upon a time were going to be a mode of transport for Duke as well as pig cops. It's unfortunate that it didn't come to fruition, but well, they're fun to blow up, and that's what matters most. These zoomy metal shark ships fly around via a predestined path on the map and spit out laser shots, which are just as straightforward to dodge as those fired by the troopers. Keep moving, and you should be fine. I like to use a couple of shotgun blasts or a spray of chain gun fire to take them down. When destroyed, the vehicle plummets to the ground in a wild conflagration. Once it hits the ground, it'll eject an undamaged pig cop who will engage you with his shotgun. Treat him as you would any other swine, and take him down. RPVs are good at dodging your rockets, so settle for the accuracy of your hit scan weapons and save yourself time and ammo. Interestingly, if Duke or another enemy is in their flight path on the ground below, the RPV will stall and won't be able to fly. It'll just remain static in the sky until the blockage moves. This is a good time to hit them, as is when they fire, during which they hover in the air, unmoving. They're a rarely seen enemy, and would only function well in open environments, but I'm always happy to see them. The cinematic manner of their destruction is very satisfying indeed. Octabrains. Love these gross critters. Their cries of pain, which are like nails down a chalkboard, would usually drive my mother up the wall as I would be playing the game using speakers. "What the devil is that horrid racket?" she would cry. "'Tis a giant floating brain monster," I would reply. She would sigh. "Just turn it down a bit, please." "Sorry, Mum." First encountered in the sewers below the red light district, the heads of these hideous monsters will glow as they slowly charge up and then spit out a psychic projectile, causing Duke quite a bit of grief. Because the charge up is slow, this gives you ample opportunity to eviscerate them. Up close, they'll give you a nasty chomp with their needle-like teeth, so kicking them can take quite some practice. Their bite isn't instantaneous, there's a bit of a delay. If you get your kicks right, you can kick, step back, and repeat the process and not use a single bullet. But explosives. Explosives is what you should be packing when you tackle the Octabrains. One single hit from the Devastator will pop them, as will one RPG rocket. it. Unlike in Duke Nukem Forever, pipe bombs aren't as effective as you might like. It can take 2 or more depending on how well positioned the explosives are. If you have the luxury of choice, Devastator should be your first port of call. Okay, let's treat ourselves. Here is the 3D render used to make the Octo sprites. Nice! The Battlelord. First big boss time. This guy can be quite the tricky adversary. His arena in the Abyss ship doesn't give you much cover to hide from his monster chain gun, although his mortars are easy enough to avoid. With the weapons you have up to this point, your best survival strategy is keep moving, keep firing, and don't stop doing both those things. He's the fastest moving monster in the game, and even though he'll be spending a lot of time pausing to fire, he will cover the arena ground before you know it. Once he gets atop the central raised area, strafe around him and let him have it with the RPG. Pick up the atomic health as you make your revolutions, grab the loose ammo lying around, and just keep firing. Insert Cyber Demon meme here. There's not too much to him as a monster, except that he can also step on you if you get too close to him. I don't know why you would get close to him to begin with, but just don't do it. Once you've brought him down, Duke will say, "Die, you son of a bitch," and rightly so. In the ensuing cutscene, Duke will blow the Battlelord's head apart and discover that more shit is going down in space. So he dusts himself off and heads into the inky black. Enforcers. These guys suck. They have a 0% flinch chance, so you might be blasting them with your chain gun while they do the same, and they won't stop until either you fall down or they do. This should teach you not to directly engage them in the open unless you're wielding a weapon that can wipe them out in one shot. That is to say, the RPG or the Shrinker. The chain gun is still effective, as is the shotgun, but you'll have to duck in and out of cover to preserve your health while attacking. And they can also easily surprise you by leaping into the fray from a ledge or window, populating what was once an empty room. You first encounter these guys in Lunar Apocalypse, and after that they'll become a common foe in the following episodes. They have a gold ring through their reptilian snout and can hock a big fat green loogie at you, obscuring the screen and doing damage. They can also be seen squatting to take a dump, halting their attack momentarily. If Duke steps in the doo-doo, he'll reliably inform you that shit happens, but luckily the poop doesn't do anything evil like making you slip over. That would have been really nasty. They've got the same health as a pig cop and essentially replaced them as a common hit scanner bastard bad guy in episode 2, but due to their leaping and their lack of flinch, I rate them as a more dangerous enemy. Hit them hard and fast and be on the lookout for more. Sentry Drones. These guys also suck. Big time. They give a Doom Imp screech and hover towards you, letting off a dangerous throbbing noise. When they get close to you, they'll explode, dealing severe damage. Remain vigilant and don't let them sneak up on you. They can be encountered in some very BS situations where you need to react quickly and think on your feet. Sustained fire with the chain gun is good at keeping them in place, but the shotgun is also good at picking them off. About 2 or 3 shots should do it. Just make sure you keep your distance from their death explosion. They're really good at dodging rocket fire too, so I suggest you stick to the chain gun. But the best weapon to use against them isn't even one in your arsenal. It's doors. These douchebags are usually positioned on the other side of doors, or at the very least, are near a door. You need to be quick. Duck your head out to wake them up, get them hovering towards you, then shut the door before they get you. Stand flush against the other side and they'll blow up. The door will absorb the blast and they'll kill themselves. Easy! Their explosion is triggered by proximity to its target, not by line of sight. Get them close, but not too close, with a blocking object in between you and them, and you should be fine. Now, if only you could carry a door around with you wherever you go, you'd be untouchable. Do bear in mind though that they can also open doors themselves, so be prepared to play open-closed doory door when dealing with them. And the least said about the massive horde of them out on the lunar surface, the better. Protozoid Slimers. Hatching out of their nasty little facehugger eggs, Slimers are a nuisance enemy that will make you pray for an aerosol can and a lighter. It's thought that these gloopy bros are the ones that generate the green alien biomass, or at least are directly related to it in some way. They're extremely weak, and combat-wise, I recommend chucking a pipe bomb into their nest, and if faced directly, just tap your quick kick to boot them to pieces. A single pistol shot is also good, but the foot will cost you nothing, and it saves you swapping weapons. You can occasionally see Slimers absorbing other enemies by touching them. They swallow them whole and then carry on bouncing from floor to ceiling. As far as I can tell, this is a freebie. I've not seen anything untoward happening when they absorb another bad guy. They still seem as weak as ever. It can cost you time and health, but luring Slimers into a group of enemies is cool. This tactic works on pig cops, troopers, captains, enforcers, and protector drones. Definitely worth checking out, even just for the novelty. These guys also leave behind a nasty slime puddle for you to step in, dealing damage. Gross. Assault Commanders. These tubby Mancubus lookalikes float on hovering bladed platforms and they'll spew rockets at you. They're probably my favorite enemy in the game because they're durable, they're gross, and they let out rumbling voice lines, laughing and mimicking Duke. Love it. If you get close to them for whatever reason, they'll spin rapidly, the blades on their platform cutting you to ribbons. Bearing this in mind, take them out from afar. The Shrinker is especially useful against them considering their sizable health. One shot will make them tiny and then Duke will step on them when he approaches. Lovely. Commanders are slow movers, but they can travel just about anywhere as they're a flying enemy. Often the first thing you'll notice about them is a trail of rockets approaching from the other side of a huge room. If you don't want to wait for them to get close enough to use the Shrinker, let fly with 2 or so RPG shots and they'll explode. Suck it down. Battlelord Sentries. He's back. In POG form. This much weaker version of the Episode 1 boss will still shred you with his minigun and pop you with his mortars, but luckily your Shrinker will really shine in taking out these bastards. Crouch when firing the Shrinker to hit his feet or his alien ding-dong. One shot is all you need if it's focused and he'll get smallified. Then you can tower over his squeaking form and stomp him good and proper. If you don't have any Shrinker ammo, it takes about 5 RPG rockets or 30 Devastator shots to kill one, which can take a while. The blue key room in occupied territory has 3 of the buggers on Come Get Some. If you can't shrink, be prepared for a lengthy engagement. The Overlord. Big Boss number 2. The Overlord is a vaguely lizard-like froggy beast with a twin set of rocket launchers on its back. When you enter his arena, a big old door will open up revealing the second big bad, and Duke will threaten it with a fecal fun time. This dude is pretty basic, if he'll behave. Try to tease him out into the center of the room and then run in circles to stay ahead of his rockets while spamming your RPG and Devastator. Keep this up for a bit and you win. Again, I don't know why you'd get close to him, but if you do, he'll crush you underfoot like the Battlelord. In his arena is a bit of a BS secret. You have to run into the room he came from, and then an area across the way will open up with ammo and health. I don't believe it's highlighted in any way, but if you want to get the secret, you need to jump through these hoops before you kill the Overlord, because when you do, the mission ends. When the Overlord dies, Duke makes good on his poopy promise. He rips off its head and then sits down to lay some cable while reading the newspaper, whistling his own theme tune. What a guy. Sharks. Despite being killers from the deep, the sharks in Duke 3D are pretty harmless. They're slow, weak, and don't put up much of a fight. They'll obviously bite you if you get too close, so don't do that. Pew-pew them from afar and keep on truckin'. The Cycloid Emperor. The proper big bad, the big cheese boss number 3, and he's pretty cool actually. I love his attacks, his sprites, and his arena, a football stadium. It's down to you and me, you one-eyed freak, bellows Duke as he rises to face the Emperor in Episode 3, Level 9, Stadium. Let's rock. Okay, so in close to medium quarters, the Emperor shoots out a spray of Octabrains psychic blast to keep you dancing. From a distance, he'll pump rockets out of his mechanized claws, 2 or 3 at a time. You're in projectile city right here, but you've got babes cheering you from the sidelines, and there's plenty of ammo and health. You're on the home stretch. Give it all you've got. Keep on the move, strafe around, and constantly fire your boss-killing weapons, RPG and Devastator. I personally prefer Devastator as it fires quicker, but it depends on how much ammo you've carried over from the previous level. So take out the Emperor quickly and enjoy the cutscene of Duke booting a giant eyeball over the goals with a resolute game over. After the scores dissolve, Duke informs us that he'll be ready for more action once he's had some R&R, which seems to involve some very aggressive slap and tickle. True to his word, our hero returns for the birth. A highly enjoyable expansion episode featuring 3 new bad guys to explode. Protector Drones. The spawn of Queen Bitch, these lanky SOBs mostly go in for a slashy claw melee attack, usually after they leap at you. Drones can also spit out shrinker projectiles, which can be quite annoying. annoying. It can happen quite a lot, and then they'll try to step on you. Not very nice. They're quite tanky with 300 health, meaning they can swallow a few RPG shots without crumbling. My recommendation would be to chain gun them, which also makes them flinch, or let fly with the freeze thrower. It doesn't take too many freeze thrower charges to ice them up, and then Duke can easily smash them when he approaches their frozen carcasses. The shrinker doesn't work on them at all, as they spit those projectiles themselves. Fair enough. And other weapons will just take a while. In a pretty obvious nod towards the xenomorphs from the Alien movies, when you spill their guts, huge gouts of green acidic blood pours forth, hurting you if you step on it. This makes things difficult if you kill a whole bunch of them in a cramped area, like their introduction in It's Impossible. Sometimes you just have to take it on the chin and suck up the damage. It's not too harsh, but it certainly makes Duke complain a bit. Their original sprites were bright blue like the Queen herself, but in-game their palette swapped to a brown color. Curious. These guys leap further underwater, which becomes apparent when you're fighting the Queen. Yikes. Pig cop tanks. Whoop whoop, it's the sound of the police. Again, our friendly neighborhood hideous hogs are bringing out the big guns. An armored riot tank that fires a steady barrage of bullets from its twin barrels, numerous mortars, and a spray of lasers. More than enough to keep you on your toes. Luckily, these clanking machines have a built-in kill switch on the back. If you can manage to get behind them, which is a tricky feat in certain environments, and press use on them, the tank will emit a shrill warning alarm signaling for you to take cover. The tank will then explode, with an area of effect that exceeds the limits of its explosion sprites. So basically, give it a slap and run as far away as possible. When destroyed, the tank deploys an unharmed pig cop, just like the recon vehicle. Refer to the notes on pig cops, and you should be fine. If you don't want to chance it with the self-destruct, just slam a good handful of RPG shots into it or a string of shotgun blasts. The Alien Queen. Big Boss number 4, the final big beastie, and the strongest too. And she can put up quite a fight. Her attacks. She'll kill you instantly on contact, so don't get too close. She'll electrify the water around her. And she'll continually spawn drones to protect her. As is tradition, use your boss-killing weapons and don't halt in your attacks. Her solid wall of drones is going to be the nastiest part of the confrontation. They just keep on coming, so don't slow down. There are nooks and crannies around the arena with health and ammo that you can hide in and she can't get into. But you won't want to hang around for too long. You've got a monster to kill. When finally eliminated, Duke will say, "It's about time to abort your whole freaking species," as her corpse floats to the floor. She has 4 teats and a baby maker, which lets her plop out her young. This excessive boobage was taken to an extreme degree in Duke Nukem Forever, as she had a massive set of milkers. And, greasy. Also in the game are a few beings that pose no threat. These include strippers, ladies of the night, cocooned babes, and those bloody awful Babeland mascots. Duke will give the ladies a charitable donation when interacted with, and the abducted babes are beyond help, and they'll beg for you to kill them, which always made me sad. I had a Mandela effect thing going on whereby I used to think you could rescue them, and you can, but only in the N64 version, which I've never played. I must have picked up the information from somewhere and got myself confused. Babeland hosts a number of different animatronic critters, including pirates, slaves, a doggo, and the nasty Mickey Mouse ripoffs. Blowing up the mice will make Duke say, "Damn, that was annoying." Very true. The aliens defeated, Duke could finally have a proper rest. He earned it. A rest so long, some would say, that he died.
That was fun. Was it good for you, baby?
Thanks for watching as always. I really enjoyed this trip down memory lane and the research involved in producing this video. As always, there'll be bits I've managed to somehow leave out or overlook. Please leave your nuggets of info in the comments below. I always enjoy reading other cool strats and facts that people have discovered while playing. Oh fine, Alien World Order introduces a few new baddies, well, 2 essentially, the Firefly Trooper and the Cycloid Incinerator. There's also mini versions of the Overlord and the Emperor, which act how they normally do but have much, much less health. The Emperor variant, Cycloid Sentry, can inflict damage upon itself with its own rockets, meaning that if you can get it stuck behind something while it attacks, it can kill itself with its own damage. Sad. Firefly Troopers. I actually really like this addition to World Order. Introduced in the first level, these guys appear as teeny-weeny fairy-like monsters, and then they swell in size when you get near to pelt you with a flamethrower. They can also shrink down and hover, firing an incinerator projectile that leaves flaming puddles that will damage you over a period of time. They're quite nasty, and on Come Get Some they appear in a large swarm. They also have a third attack whereby they crouch and fire a basic trooper laser shot. I just like to heft the RPG and send a handful of rockets at them when they're clustered together. This seems to work well, even when they're shrunken down. Besides that, just go for the shotgun. And when you kill them, they'll go all red and explode, so watch out for that. The Cycloid Incinerator. It's an Emperor, but red. When Duke spies this spicy boy atop the hills of Hollywood, he'll spit out a threat involving roasting and nuts, and the fight is on. In combat, the Incinerator will shoot giant gouts of flame from his claws, spew out flame puddle projectiles if you're far away, and can summon 2 Firefly Troopers from his gob. It's the same combat principle as the Emperor. Stay away, spam your boss weapons, and don't die. He's got quite a cavalcade of alien dinguses to support him as well, which ratchets up the heat. But if your movement is good, it shouldn't give you too much grief.
My name's Eduardo and friends. After a few weeks of R&R, I'll be ready for more videos.
Oh, Eddie, I'm ready now.